Okay, friends, go through kind of a traditional pigeon Kapotasana sequence. Everybody's probably done the face forward pronam style of pigeon. There's several different ways you can do it. I'll show you a few different variations with twists and other modifications that you can do. The ones that I'm capable of doing. There were some in the past that I could do. I eventually got to a place where they were just too strenuous and it felt like I really wasn't getting anything from them and just beating myself up. So I'm just going to stick with the ones that I do, that I'm comfortable doing and I feel like I get enough from. For some of you, you go into your full beautiful expressions of it. That's completely up to you, okay? So this is probably not the video for you then.
So everybody knows the one from down dog. And generally you approach something like this from down dog. Just an inhale the leg up and then bringing a knee forward. Now you want that right knee over by your right hand. For people who are new to pigeon, then the right foot's going to be tucked over here pretty close to the left hip crease. Other people, they begin to parallel their shin with the top of the mat. Now if your hip is not loose enough, it's going to move into your right knee and your meniscus. You're just going to end up damaging yourself. You're not here to beat yourself up, so you've got to find a place where you're like, okay, I don't feel anything painful in my knee. My lower back feels pretty flat. I'm not just falling out onto the side like this. It's kind of a different variation that I'll show you later. But zero pain in the knee, the hips opening on the right. You know you're getting something there. The left leg's long, straight back behind. And maybe you're comfortable just here, stacking the fists. Maybe you have a block at home or a pillow. Maybe you really can just relax and release into it. And you spend 10 breaths here. Maybe 15 breaths here, maybe longer. Just as long as your foot's not falling asleep or turning blue or something. You don't want that to happen. And then after you hold it for 10 or 15 breaths, take a nice inhale up. And then maybe bring that leg back and move it around a little bit from down dog, or maybe up and over for a counter twist, and then always make sure you move into the other side. Same deal. You find the degree that's comfortable to you. People with really tight hips, now the left foot would be over by the right hip crease. Right leg straight back behind. Forward and down, relaxing and breathing for, again, 10, 15, maybe 20 breaths. And really breathe in, and as you stay here, you'll notice my hip begins to open up, and I can feel myself sink deeper into the mat. All that connective tissue, the fascia, all of those tendons, ligaments, all that tightness is just kind of falling away through your deep breathing. You're engorging this spot with oxygen-rich blood. It can't help but just naturally relax. And same deal, after you make a mindful exit out, up, over, or maybe back and forth. You can even do in and over, in and over. There's lots of variations. Be creative. It's your practice too, I can show you a lot of the basics and how to be mindful with it and approach it with a little science, but it's really left up to you. You can do these postures really anywhere. So, another variation of pigeon. You remember, do this on both sides. Maybe you're in your pigeon, nice and comfortable. You've stayed here for 10 or 15 breaths. And you want to get a little bit more from it. Well, quads, hip flexors, psoas get really tight, and this is a great place to mindfully approach it. So you parallel your left arm with the top of the mat. Adding a little twist, reaching back, and then just take maybe 5 breaths, maybe 10 breaths, gently, firmly pulling this left foot with your right hand, and this is a deep stretch. Your quads may be really tight, so if your quads are really tight, you'll have to find another one, maybe do some lunges or something for a while to loosen your quads up. But if you're comfortable with this, then go for it again for 5 or 10 breaths. Then mindfully release it. Same deal. Release out when you're ready. And then always do the other side after you've spent some time and your hips are open. And again, it's always a good suggestion to just hold pigeon, your regular pigeon, for a while so your hip's ready, so you're not moving into this knee when you are ready to parallel your right arm with the mat this time, and then reach back for the left foot or the right foot with the left hand, and then take several breaths and allow that foot to just gently, firmly pull in as you release the right quad. Same deal, just breathing deep, big breaths. And then after you've put your time in and you feel ready, just release that again and do your thing. Now, what's a few other ways that you can approach pigeon? There's kind of a new way, a new modern way that you see some people do at the gym sometimes. Really paralleling like that, allowing this leg to kind of pull back, and then moving kind of your chest towards your foot, kind of laying over it like that. I don't know if you can see that there. So you kind of got your legs like this, and then you just lay over this leg. For me, I can see how I get a little bit from this, but I tend to get a little bit more from a traditional pigeon stance. But your legs are kind of like you'd be running, I guess, kind of like a cartoon version of somebody running. But same deal, you just kind of fold over the leg. Now, again, I get something from it, but I tend to get a little bit more from just a traditional pigeon form. That is an alternative though, especially be careful with your knees on that one though too. A twisted version of pigeon. So you'd be in your traditional pigeon, something like that, and then your elbow comes over. And you roll out a little bit on this one, and then you can kind of lift up a shoulder, take your hand behind your back, elbow into the arch of your foot. Gotta be pretty careful with that one. Again, it's kind of the same way of approaching that variation of pigeon, really paralleling the shin with the top of the mat, legs back, elbow comes over, palms together, or twist over, it's up to you. It's just, again, another variation of it that you can get something from. Deep hip opener, hip flexor, psoas is always just your traditional lizard. Now that might be knee down, something like that. That might be where you need to stay for a while. Nothing wrong with that. Avoid doing this. Always bring some weight forward. Chest stays open. Same deal, hold for maybe 5 to 10 breaths. Move to the other side. I see some people sometimes do something like this. Just be careful. I don't really want to push too much. Just be gentle, firm. Those two great words from Brian Kest. Then there's other variations where you can kind of activate your leg, maybe drop to your forearms, bring an arm underneath. You know, there's all different variations. From here you can go surfing into some postures, or maybe hold. A very deep one is to release the top of your foot, press the top of your foot. Do that from your hands or your forearms. Again, whatever you do on one side, make sure to do on both sides. So here, maybe working that arm underneath again. You know, here, maybe there. Got to be careful. There's other things you can move into here. I think they call it, surfing. Not really going to get into that. So there's a few more traditional forms and a little bit more advanced hip openers, adding in some twists and some quads and things like that. Now we're going to get into just wherever you're at throughout the day, you can add some hip openers, okay? All right.